At this point, I would like to call this meeting to order. Amanda, can you do the honors? Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Lakeland Rotary Club. My name is Joel Ivey, and I'm so glad that you could join us. We got a great program for you today. Our own Stacy Campbell Dominic is going to lead us in the invocation, the pledge, and the four-way test. And as we go through the prayer, we just ask that you keep Helen and the loss of John Cannon in your minds. What a great member he was, great person all across the board. So Stacy is the CEO of Career Source Polk. She's on the board of directors and a 3-year Rotarian. Stacy, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Absolutely. Starting with the invocation, will you bow your heads? Most gracious and eternal Father, thank you for your abounding love, grace, mercy, forgiveness, and protection. Lord, give us the strength and the desire to demonstrate the same toward our fellow Rotarians, our fellow citizens, and most of all, your collective creation. Father, we take a moment to lift up John Cannon and family. Father, we lift your angels, Edie Yates and David Henderson, Diana Simmons, and so many more that you've called home, and their families. Father, we all mourn such tremendous losses. But we are comforted in your word, which reveals that you are indeed close to those who are brokenhearted and that you save those who are crushed in spirit. We need you now. Heal our hearts, heal our minds, and heal our land so that the work we do as your vessels and fellow Rotarians continue to manifest itself in ways that please you. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build better goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right, Stacy, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Trey, let's move into the introduction of guests and visiting Rotarians, please.
Okay. I know that we have Doug McCall here, and not sure that we had any other guests or visiting Rotarians, but if you could introduce yourself or have someone introduce you for you. If I can speak today. Okay, I think Doug McCall is the only visiting Rotarian or guest.
All right, welcome, Doug. Happy to have you every week. You got better attendance than I do, I think. Thank you. Thank you, Trey. So we'll open it up for Happy Dollars. If anybody has a Happy Dollar announcement you'd like to make, please unmute yourself and speak up.
Hi, this is Linda Bagley Wiggs.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, I am happy to announce that Howard and my daughter, Kimber Wiggs, has completed her doctoral program. She defended her dissertation, and now we have our daughter, Dr. Kimber Wiggs, and she had her degree in modern English literature, and she is about to get married in 2.5 weeks and building a house in Lakeland. So I'm so happy. So I probably owe you about $5 for all that happy.
Fantastic, Linda. Thank you. What a great accomplishment that is. So congratulations to Kimber.
Thank you.
Any other Happy Dollars? Come on, don't be shy. It's almost Thanksgiving. All right, hearing none, let's move into the announcements. First up is the Vista meal boxes. Tyler?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. As we've announced the last few weeks, we are delivering Vista boxes to the elderly in our community. Those can be delivered at any point in December. The pickup date is Tuesday, December 1st, just after our Rotary meeting. I'm going to have all the boxes and be set up in the back parking lot at First United Methodist Church, where we used to meet regularly in person. So it's a place everybody's familiar with. If you want to sign up to deliver one box or multiple boxes, there's 2 different ways to do that. You can send me an email to this email address, which I'll also post in the chat in a second, or you can sign up on Club Runner as well. Amanda created a number of sign-up places. And so if you go to that link, if you go on Club Runner and you want to sign up for multiple boxes, just sign up for multiple slots. That way we can keep track. And I'll be in touch with everybody who has already signed up about additional pickup and delivery instructions. Thanks to everybody who has signed up. We have a little bit of a ways to go, but we have good participation and attendance so far. We're committed to delivering 120 boxes, which is up from what we did last year. So we still need volunteers, and thanks again to everybody who's already signed up.
Great. Thank you, Tyler. Next announcement we have is regarding spring obsession, and I think Matt Schichtel is going to update us on that.
Thanks, Joel.
Take it away.
Yeah.
Matt, it looks like we're in and out with your audio.
Well, this is Melody. I'll announce it for him. I just don't want to be on video as I'm still recovering a little bit here. Anyway, we want to just announce that the sponsor letters have gone out, and that please be looking out for those. And again, anyone that wants to support the event, we would surely appreciate that. We are looking to get those ADA devices for the police, local Lakeland Police Department, as those help all of our citizens in distress immediately in a time of need versus waiting for emergency help to arrive. So save many lives. So again, thank you, and we appreciate your support.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mel. Sorry about that, Matt. You can expect your check from Lakeland Electric. It is supposedly in the mail, so be looking for it. Moving on to our Santa's Helpers. Is that one up there? So the City Parks and Rec Department is still looking for volunteers. They need a few more, not a whole lot more, but a few more. So if you're so inclined to want to call kids and be their Santa Claus for just a little bit, just brings a bright spot into their life, there's the instructions that are on the screen there. You can send me an email if you like, or just email the recreation@lakelandgov.net directly and be a Santa or a Santa's helper. That would be awesome. Okay, Salvation Army bell ringing. Jim Russell.
Good morning. Once again, our ringing dates for our club is December 14th. That's a Monday through Christmas Eve. The sign-up platform is up and running, and I want to thank Mike Loudon. He's the first one to sign up for a shift. And they pretty much get to the platform just about the same way that Tyler just showed you as far as volunteering for a Visti box, except you hit Salvation Army bell ringing instead of the Visti. Also, just a thought, if somebody is not comfortable with going out and ringing the bell at this time, I can use day captains, which those are the folks that call the volunteers the day before to make sure they're going to fill their slots. And we have 10 days, so I could use 10 day captains. So just let me know if you want to do that, and we can sign you up for that. Thank you.
All right, Jim, thank you so much. The last announcement we got, I think, is regarding the Board of Directors election. We are going to make a change to the election process this particular year. I'm taking a presidential privilege in making this change. One of the issues that we've got is we don't really have enough members showing up for the Zoom meetings to have a quorum to take a vote on anything. And we're looking to make a bylaws change anyway for who all would like to be considered as actual candidates for the board. And so Beth is going to be sending out a email letter to everyone here pretty soon. And if you would like to be considered as a candidate for the board of directors, we will still have an election process, but we're probably going to be having to do this via online activity like email or something like that, because again, we just don't have a quorum. But we do need to get our newly elected board members set up. So the first election is going to take place in December, and then and then we will narrow it down to the list of finalists that we will elect. I believe it's in the first part of January. So just know that that's going to be coming your way. If you do want to be considered as a board member, please get back with Beth and let her know that you would like to be considered for that. And if you do not want to be considered, you have to do absolutely nothing, and we'll take care of the rest. So it's a new way to do it. I apologize. There's really not a great way, but we've got to go through the process and get this done. So I encourage you to put your name out there, or not, whatever your privilege may be. All right, thank you. So let's move into the program then. The program today, new member profiles, is going to be kicked off by Marge Connelly, if that is your real last name. Marge is, or Margarine, is the program director for PACE Center for Girls. She's on the board of directors, and Marge is a 4-year great Rotarian. Marge, thank you so much for your service to the club.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, so today, on behalf of my cohorts, Lori Garrard and Carol Wallace, I have the privilege to introduce you to 2 of our members, new members from last spring. They were in that STARS class, and they have graciously accepted doing their presentations, their new member profiles virtually. So thank you for that. But I'm sure you all will enjoy getting to know them as much as I have and we have. So first, we will start with Jennifer Swenson Swearingen, and she is an assistant state attorney for us and was sponsored by Kim Brunson. So Jennifer, take it away.
All right, hello. Let me set up the screen share, I believe. All right. So I am no longer an assistant state attorney. I'm actually a circuit court judge here now. I grew up with my family of 4. So my brother and I are in the upper left corner there. When we were really little, we were in sort of pee-wee soccer over here in Lakeland, actually. I grew up mostly in Pinellas, but we started out our life in Florida over in Plant City. My brother went off into the military. There he is. He was an officer in the Army. He served a tour in Iraq, and then he left the military, and he works in sales now down in Bonita Springs and has his own family. And my mom and dad are there for his, I think it was his OCS graduation. Now I've got my own family of 4, where my husband, Ben Swearingen, and my 2 little boys, Theodore Arthur Swearingen and Nathaniel David Swearingen. We went very traditional with the names. We have them growing up here in Lakeland, and we're very happy to be here. It is kind of weird being back when I have sort of those ties from very long time ago, and not much interaction with Lakeland until we moved here for my job about 8 or so years ago. But my husband taught at St. Joseph's Academy in Lakeland for just a brief period of time while he was getting his master's in teaching. And I had been attending St. Joseph's Academy when I was in, I think, 1st grade. So it was just very surreal to sort of have those little exposures every now and then. Ben and I actually met in law school, but he's gone into the teaching field, and he teaches now at All Saints Academy high school government type classes. He does a little bit of everything. So growing up, my family and I loved to travel, and I still love to travel now. We got to go on a lot of trips. We were very lucky. My dad worked at Sykes as the CIO right before Y2K. So if you all remember in Y2K, it was, oh my goodness, the computers are all going to fail. So with him working with computers, he was traveling all over to set up their computer system so that everything would run smoothly with the Y2K transition. And with that, we missed him, but he earned a lot of frequent flyer miles. And with those, we were able to go on some really neat trips. But even before we started taking the trips, my family would host exchange students. We had an exchange student from England, Japan. I think we had a couple that were from Japan. And through my dad's travel, through the exchange students, we have family friends now in the Netherlands, in England, all over. So it's a lot of fun to be able to go and visit and get that exposure to other cultures and other perspectives and experiences. I have also taken advantage of some study abroad opportunities that came up. This top left picture, it's hard to see, but that group of students was in, I think, 7th or 8th grade middle school class that we went to Spain, and we got to sort of get immersed in the language. And ultimately, though, I ended up studying Chinese, which is why you see some pictures from the Great Wall and from Hong Kong there. When I was at Vanderbilt for my undergrad, I studied abroad in China the summer before the Olympics. So it was 2007. It was a really good time to go because they were cleaning everything up for the Olympics and gearing up for that the next year. So the air quality, from what I understand, was quite a bit better than it had been in the past. So it was a good time to go. And then when I was in law school at Duke Law School, I did a dual degree program that I was able to get my Juris Doctor as well as my master's in international and comparative law. And as part of that program, I had to go to Hong Kong to take classes for part of one of the summers. So I did an internship with a law firm in Beijing, and then I spent the second half of that summer in Hong Kong, which probably was one of my favorite places that I've been. It was just such a cool mixture of cultures that was there at the time. Hopefully they're able to keep that interesting character that they had. Part of our travels, we like to have adventures. We like to do things and not just go and see pretty buildings. We like to go and really have a good time. So I've been scuba diving before. These pictures over here were a trip that we took. We were in South France, and we had a member of our group that spoke French, we thought, and we all got signed up for what we thought was going to be a quite scenic trek through this cave, and the brochure looked very low key, and it seemed like, oh yeah, we're in appropriate attire. And then if you see one of those pictures, our guide is in complete coveralls and, the orange coverall, and he comes out and gets suited up, and we're thinking, did we get this right? Are we on the right trip? It was not at all what we thought it would be, but it was so much fun. We ended up getting all harnessed in and sort of rappelling and climbing through things. It was a lot of fun. So I like to try and take, adventures and go see new things and have those new experiences. We also took a lot of ski trips, and I am hoping to be able to start sort of the family tradition that my family growing up developed, was that we didn't get a lot of things for gifts. We got experiences. So instead of getting a lot of Christmas presents underneath the tree, we knew that our Christmas present was going to be, being able to go skiing. And we were very lucky to be able to do that. And we had so much fun. And it started at a relatively young age. So I can't wait until my kids are just slightly older and COVID is just slightly less of a problem. And we can sort of transition into going and doing as opposed to giving. Or rather getting. We'll give the experiences, but it's not so much about the things is my hope that it'll develop into. Another huge shared family thing is that we are very much a hockey family. The Lightning, I don't know if you know, won the Stanley Cup this year. It was really awesome. It was like the bright spot of COVID, the fact that they were able to get that done. It was devastating that we couldn't be there in person, but it was so exciting to watch all the games. It was from such a young age. My dad grew up in the Northeast. He had played hockey growing up. And so from the time that the Lightning came, I think it was in 92 or so, he had started taking us to games. And we have already taken Theo to a couple of games. I think he's been to 2 or 3. And we had bought the tickets. We were all set to go for Nathan's first game. It was actually going to be, my parents, my brother and his son, and just all the family was going to get together. And then COVID hit, and it was all of that got shut down, and it was that weekend that we were supposed to go to our game. So we will be putting that on the checklist of things to make up, and we'll probably try and get together and have a good game. But we had a blast with that growing up, and I still enjoy watching and keeping up with all the hockey going on. So in terms of job, I did come over to Lakeland at first to start my job at the state attorney's office for the 10th Judicial Circuit. I had been interning with federal judge. This is Judge Moody over in Tampa. I had interned with him very shortly after I graduated from law school. This is me and my grandfather at our graduation in the bottom left. My grandfather was sort of in and out of Lakeland for a number of years, and he sort of settled here before he passed away. He had come over for an opportunity to sort of start a company called Custom Chemicals down in Mulberry. And I think it's still there. I think it's Airmaz or something. It still has the name in there, but he traveled a lot for work, so he moved around. My mom and my uncle lived here in the 70s or so when she was in middle school at Southwest, and he was at Scott Lake Elementary for a little bit. And when my grandfather was still here, he helped kind of with my connections, trying to figure out the right fit for where I would end up after law school. And it made a lot of sense to come over here and be closer to where he was. And I'm very glad that we were able to do that. He passed away about a year ago. He had some health issues with some strokes and dementia related issues as well. And it's funny because shortly after I joined our club, I believe that was when there was the donation that was made to CART, and there was a program about that. And it really reinforced the decision that I had made to join our organization and see the things that we do that really do have impact out there. But in terms of getting into the law in general, I had known for a long time that I wanted to ultimately be involved in a career in the law. These pictures on the right are from 5th grade. There was this program called Enterprise Village over in Pinellas where I was going to school. And the competition was fierce to become the, quote, lawyer at that village. And there was only one spot for the lawyer. And I won. I beat out Ginger Sadek. She was my big rival for it. And it meant so much to me because I just knew. I knew that I wanted to be in the law. And so I was so excited to go and, quote, be a lawyer. And it's nothing like, the real lawyering is nothing like what it was at Enterprise Village. But it was just reinforced very much that, yes, this is what I should be doing, the fact that I got so excited about it. So once I was at the state attorney's office, I prosecuted misdemeanors all the way up through capital sexual batteries. I worked in the Crimes Against Children division for 3 years or so. I was the division chief of one of the felony divisions for about 3 years or so. So it was the really serious kind of cases by the time I left, and it was very rewarding to be able to do that. But I did apply to become a county court judge initially, and I got appointed in May. I got appointed in May and started in June in the county court, and then a circuit court seat came available, and I was not really expecting to get the circuit court seat, but thought, okay, I should go ahead and apply, put my name in, and we'll see what happens. It'll be good practice, that sort of thing. And I was very pleasantly surprised to get the call that I had also been appointed to the circuit court seat. So my time on the county court bench was very short, and I've now transitioned to circuit court, where I am in charge of one of the family law divisions here. So that's kind of been my path, and I'm very happy with where I'm at. I'm very proud to be a judge here and to serve the community in that way. My kids do keep me very grounded, I will say. So, as much as I'm excited and I'm very proud, my kids expect me to just be at their beck and call, just like any other mom would. And they are fantastic. And I try very hard to make sure that in everything I do, I am setting a good example for them. And I feel like what we do here at the Lakeland Rotary Club is very much setting a good example for them about community involvement and giving back. So thank you for having me as a member, and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. That was really very, very interesting. And I'm glad you get to work with my good friend, Judge Sharon Franklin. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
Next, we have William Roll. William does transportation planning for Kimley Horn, and he was sponsored by Deidre Knight. So William, it's all yours.
All right, thank you very much. Can you see my presentation?
Not yet, but your digs are nice.
You're not seeing the presentation?
Nope, not yet.
This is one of those ain't technology wonderful.
There it comes.
There we go. All right, well, it's a pleasure to be speaking before everyone today. Actually joined quite some time ago, but obviously with COVID and everything, it's been a while to have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself. So let me just go ahead and dig in with that. So in terms of my childhood, I grew up here in Lakeland largely. I was born up in Ohio, but in first grade we moved down here to Lakeland. Which is where I largely grew up. In terms of, I kind of came to a realization a few years ago. I grew up poor here in Lakeland. I mean, I grew up on the wrong side of South Florida Avenue, but had some great experiences. I felt like Dixieland Elementary was a great school to go to, and then middle school went to Southwest and Lakeland High School for a year before my family moved to South Carolina. In terms of some of the stuff I did, growing up, I guess I've always been organizationally inclined. Spent some time as a cadet with the Civil Air Patrol, which is an auxiliary of the Air Force. Was a police explorer with our very own Hans Lehman, who figures very prominently in my life, in my life story. And then also was a ROTC cadet. Probably one of the more interesting things, though, I got to do is the U.S. Navy League has a program called the Sea Cadet Program, and I got to do that. And one of the things experiences I had back in 1986, got to go up to the Naval War College up in Newport, Rhode Island, and you'll see a picture here. This isn't a picture of me, but it's pretty representative. It's a damage control simulator, and they put you in it, and it's leaking about 750 gallons of water a minute. And you got to save the ship using the same type of stuff that regular Navy sailors do. And so that's an incredible confidence building experience when you're just a teenager, growing up.
Hey William, I don't want to interrupt you and disrupt your flow, but your slides are not advancing.
They're not advancing. Are they advancing now?
I don't think you're in presentation mode.
How does it appear here? You see a slide here?
Yep.
Okay, maybe we'll just do this. Okay, so you're seeing colleges now?
Yes.
All right, great. Okay, so in terms of colleges, I started off at the University of South Carolina, which probably explains why I don't like Clemson. If you think you have rivalries here in Florida, you just wait till you go up to South Carolina. And I'll go ahead and be a spoiler alert. I'm a big Notre Dame fan. My wife was baptized in the Basilica on the campus, and so go Irish. My grandmother passed away down here in Florida, or I'm actually my grandfather passed away down here in Florida. So we moved back from South Carolina back to Florida. So I left the University of South Carolina and was able to get into Valencia Community College, which I got to say, boy, that was a great learning experience. Some of the best professors I had in my entire college experience were actually at Valencia. From there, I went on to Stetson University. And at the time, my studies was political science. I wanted to go into international relations. You kind of maybe saw a little bit of a military background in terms of activities I did growing up. But the reality was I'm partially colorblind, and that kind of keeps you from doing any of the really fun stuff. And so kind of pivoted, thought I was going to be like a foreign service officer, did international relations, because what could be more boring than state and local government? And so was doing my political science and got an internship with a local planning agency in Daytona Beach. And from there, I changed my major, and in my senior year, I knocked out all the requirements to get a degree, not in political science, but in geography, of all things. And so I graduated with a degree in geography, and my internship turned into a full-time position. During that time, I was going and getting my master's degree in public administration from UCF. And I did that for a year. So I was living in DeLand, going to school in Daytona Beach, and an opportunity came up to do a little consulting work down in Key West. And that was another life-changing experience, if you will. That experience basically led me to decide that I wanted to go into consulting. And so I moved to Tampa, and I completed my last year of my master's degree by driving 3 days a week from Tampa over to Orlando to be able to finish my master's degree. So anybody goes and says you can't work and get your degree at the same time, really have a hard time understanding and believing that, because this is back before the Greenway was completed, and it was a long drive, and it was a lot of late nights, but definitely well worth it. One of the other things kind of interesting, this picture, this is me wearing the firefighter outfit, and that's Hans Lehman standing right behind me. One day, first year we were at Stetson University, Hans goes and shows up and goes and says, I joined the fire department. And I said to myself, well, that sounds pretty good. Why don't I go ahead and do that as well? And it was a great experience. Again, another one of those confidence building type things. I can still remember the first house fire that I had, and going in that front door, and there were flames lapping over the top of the ceiling. And I had just one thought in my mind, wow, this is really pretty cool. So maybe there's a little mental issue I've got going on here to think that's cool, but at the time that was really exciting stuff. So moving on, my family, my wife and I have been married for 23 years now. That's my son Nicholas there in the photo as well. So I met Kelly because I was visiting Hans and his wife at their house. And apparently my future wife saw me and said that, who's that guy driving the station wagon? Because at the time I was driving a station wagon, which I thought was a very practical vehicle. And so they ended up having a party for just the express purpose of the two of us meeting each other. She talked about how much she loved public administration, which I found out that was not true. But we really hit it off, and there's only been one day in the whole time that since we met that I have not spoken to her, and she has not let me forget that. A great relationship. Kelly's a public school teacher, teaches elementary, 4th grade, and Nicholas is a student at Lakeland Christian. And so I want to just talk a little bit about Nicholas, because obviously, your children are very special to you. The picture there on the left, if you can't read this shirt, it says future marine biologist. And boy, that is Nick's persona. He is always trying to get stuff, capture stuff out of the water, and has always had a real love. Now, I'm not sure how 7th grade biology is presenting a little bit of a reality check there, perhaps, but he has a love for the ocean, and that's spilled over into a lot of the activities that we have. One of the things, though, unique about Nicholas, that middle picture, that's Nick typing in his blood sugar, because Nick, when he was when he was 5 years old, Nicholas was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And if you've ever known someone who has type 1 diabetes, you realize that is a life-changing event for everybody in their lives. And I once saw a video where a very prominent individual said, it's the only disease that they can think of that you're self-dosing medicine that if you don't dose it right, can kill you. And so there's always a lot of worry and concern about Nicholas. But boy, he is really resilient. That picture on the right is him there on the tennis courts. Nicholas last year in 6th grade made the varsity tennis team for Lakeland Christian, and that's definitely been a passion of his. So I think about children who have different type of disabilities, and while diabetes is a really tough thing, boy, I'm really happy that most people will look at Nicholas and never realize that he's anything different than a healthy child that can do anything that he sets his heart to. So with that, let me transition in terms of talk a little bit about my profession and what I do. So I'm an urban and transportation planning consultant for Kimley Horn and Associates. Our offices currently are right above the Palace Pizza. I haven't been to work since March, and I think it's going to be a long time before I do go back to the office. We're a great company to work for, and that's been proven by the fact that Fortune magazine has included us on their 100 best companies to work for list for 14 years now, and currently Kimley Horn is ranked the #1 professional services and consulting firm in the country to work for, and so that's just a really great environment to work in. Talk a little bit about my work. The cartoon, if you can't read the caption, says we're going to need roads, lots of them. So ever since the invention of the wheel, transportation it was no longer waterborne. If you think about where most people live, that live near the water, and that's because of the need for transportation. And so I do largely a large amount of long-range transportation planning, figuring out what the transportation needs are out 25 years in the future. And that includes doing the transportation plan, the previous plan for Polk County, and also this December we'll be adopting the new plan. And if you want to ask about how important that is, well, just look at the picture there of I-4 at US 27 back before COVID. Yep, that's pretty much what it looked like about 12 to 16 hours out of the day. Egregious congestion, and that's something that as a professional I'm working really hard to address. So in terms of some other activities I do, also do complete streets studies, so basically trying to fix roads or design roads to serve their communities better, especially in the area of economic development and safety. I also do resiliency study. That picture in the upper right-hand side, we actually did modeling where we hit Charlotte County with a Category 2 storm on top of a meter sea level rise to understand the impacts to the community, growth and development patterns. And that's another specialty of mine is I actually do demographic forecasting. I figure out where people are going to live 25 to 50 years in the future, and that's a very important thing that I need to know in order to plan for the transportation system. So in terms of community activities, well, I was a member of Leadership Lakeland Class 35, best class ever, and I'm also currently serving with the Lakeland Chamber of Commerce. I've been on the board of directors now for a year, and next year I will begin serving as vice chair for advocacy. And I'm also, my family is a member of Lakeland Family Church, which is a fairly new startup church in Southwest Lakeland. In terms of my chamber activities and advocacy, I mean, I'm just really interested in things like economic development, transportation, obviously, but also education and housing are some real passions of mine. So in terms of passions and interests, well, we really love to travel and go on vacation together as a family. And when we do it, it's not a light affair. That's our vehicle on the right-hand, or on the left-hand side there. Paddle boards on the roof, bikes hanging off the back. Thank goodness it can hold a lot of weight. And so I'm actually very happy our family is going to be going away Friday. Our special place is up in the Panhandle. It's called 30A. It's up where Seaside is located. And there you see a picture of me paddleboarding, which is another one of my passions and interests, is getting out on the water. And that's something we do together as a family. If you haven't tried it before, I highly encourage you to give it a try. And then last picture, this is actually a picture inside Seaside. It's a bookstore. And my family, we love books. My wife and Nicholas are much bigger readers than I am in terms of books. I have a real interest in strategic and international relations and military history and government are all items I'm very interested in. So if I'm not reading a book, then there's a really good chance I'm reading about something in terms of the news, and have a real interest in activities in the Middle East and the Eastern European parts of the world. And so that's kind of a quick snapshot of a little bit who I am and what some of my experiences are. And just a real pleasure to be presenting before you today.
Fantastic. Jennifer and William, thank you so much. And sorry it has taken so long to get you guys before us, but you've got excellent backgrounds and we certainly enjoyed hearing about it. So thank you for the excellent presentations. Trey, you get to take this one off. Thanks to our guest and visiting Rotarians, well, that would be Doug McCall. I think I can handle this one all on my own. Doug, it's always a pleasure to see you, and thank you so much for continuing to stay with us and being part of our club. Our weekly quote: Thanksgiving is an emotional holiday. People travel thousands of miles to be with people they only see once a year and then discover once a year is way too often. That's a quote from Johnny Carson. Next week's program is there is no program. If you dial in, it's your own fault. So we are taking the week off. I certainly want everybody to have a very great Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with your family, hopefully. But please always remember to stay safe. Take the proper precautions in this COVID environment that we're in. So Amanda, absent any protest to the contrary, we'll call this meeting adjourned. All right. See everybody in 2 weeks. Enjoy your holidays. Thank you.